You know what I was just thinking? If groceries were affordable in Canada, this announcement right here wouldn't even have to exist. That's the truth right there, sitting underneath all the press releases, grocery store photo ops, and carefully worded talking points. Yesterday, Mark Carney announced a new grocery and GST rebate, framing it as a relief for Canadians struggling with the cost of food, and then revealed an additional $11.7 billion dollars in inflationary spending to deal with rising grocery prices. And let's get this out of the way right away. People will take the money. People need the money. When the checkout receipt feels more like a car payment, nobody's going to turn down a check. But let's stop pretending that this is good news, because it definitely is not. This isn't leadership. This isn't progress. This is deja vu. We've seen this movie before, under the Trudeau government, with the same liberal playbook. Talk big about affordability, refuse to fix it. Root causes and recycle temporary rebate after temporary rebate that, surprise, never meaningfully brings down the prices. Rebates are what governments roll out when they've run out of ideas and refuse to admit the fault. Because here's the obvious question that nobody in the liberal bubble ever wants to answer. If your policies were working, why do Canadians need emergency grocery money? Groceries didn't become expensive because Canadians suddenly forgot how to budget. Food prices didn't explode because millions of people became irresponsible at the exact same time. This didn't happen because market forces or because of luck. It happened because of policy, bad policy, repeated policy, predictable policy, carbon taxes layered into food production and transportation, fertilizer restrictions driving up the farming costs, regulatory drag that punishes domestic producers, a refusal to enforce real competition in the grocery sector, and on top of it all, massive deficit spending that pours fuel onto the inflationary fire. That very inflation, the very inflation that makes groceries cost more in the first place. Every one of those decisions flow downstream to your bank account, downstream to your weekly grocery bill. And instead of reversing the policies that contribute to the inflation, the response is, oh, we'll just spend another $11.7 billion dollars in inflationary spending and call it relief. This is what passes for good policy in Ottawa now. This rebate is being sold as relief, but it is really a quiet admission that things are so bad, the government has to step in and patch over the damage that it's caused. And not even just for everyone, only for the households underneath the income threshold that exists in some fantasy version of Canada, where inflation didn't gut purchasing power. Because apparently, if your household makes over $63,161 a year for a family with one child, that's a mother, a wife, and a child, you're doing just fine. Let that number sink in. According to the government, if a family with a child earns more than $63,000 a year before groceries, before rent, or before their mortgage, before childcare, before gas, and before the government stuck their hand in your pockets and took their taxes, you no longer qualify for affording good food or food at all. That's not upper class. $63,000, 161, that is not wealthy. That's just barely above survival. And yet, households earning above that are excluded, while people earning tens of thousands more are treated like they're living large, when in reality, they're barely treading water. These are dual income households with kids, mortgages, car payments, daycare bills, student loans, and grocery receipts that feel like a second utility bill. These aren't reckless people. These are Canadians who did exactly what they were told to do and are now being punished for it. for believing the system would hold. They don't qualify for the rebate, but they'll pay for it. They don't get the check, but they get the inflation. They don't get the press conference, but they'll get the bill. And the liberals look at this and they say, see, we helped. No, you did not help. You admitted failure and asked taxpayers to applaud. And before the comments inevitably fill up with someone saying, well, I raised a family of 7 on one income, making about $4 an hour and a firm handshake. So you're clearly just bad with your money. So I'll take a moment. Congratulations. Truly, you lived in an economy that no longer exists. You bought a house for the price of a used lawnmower. Your groceries didn't require a payment plan. Childcare didn't cost more than tuition. Energy was cheap. Taxes were lower. And wages actually moved in the right direction. That wasn't superior budgeting. That was a completely different math problem. Telling people today just to manage their money better is like giving stock tips from 1983 and wonder why nobody's impressed. It ignores inflation. It ignores housing costs. It ignores debt loads, ignores interest rates, and it ignores policy. And it just replaces it all with nostalgia. This isn't about the avocado toast you want to eat. And this sure as hell isn't about the Starbucks lattes. This isn't about personal discipline either. It's about math. And the math does not care how things used to be, Karen. If $63,161 sounds like doing great to you, you're not informed. You're time traveling. And here's the part that always gets skipped. The money doesn't come from nowhere. It isn't magic. It isn't generosity. They're not just handing it out from their bank accounts. It's spending. More spending in an already inflationary environment, funded by borrowing, taxes, or future cuts. Take your pick, whichever one. More cash just thrown into the economic fire doesn't cool prices. It feeds the flame. So while people get temporary relief, the underlying problem gets worse. Prices don't come down. Expectations go up. Businesses adjust. Landlords adjust. Grocery chains adjust. All the prices go up. Inflation gets locked in even harder. This is the Trudeau-era playbook page for page. Create the problem. Deny the cause. Mail a check. Declare victory. Woohoo! Repeat it all over again. Remember back in the day when gas was $2, $4. Now prices have gone up to just yesterday I seen $1.24 at the pump. And now when I'm going down the street and I see a gas station with gas for $1.10, I'm like, oh, look at that, a great deal. $1.10. This is what gets embedded in our minds. A new normal. Gas should be around $1 or under in my head. But the new normal is $1.10, $1.20. See what I'm talking about? Temporary relief becomes permanent dependency. The cost of living never resets, it just gets subsidized. And each time that happens, the baseline of what Canadians are expected to tolerate drops a little bit lower. Groceries aren't expensive anymore, they're just the new normal. Housing isn't broken, it's just complex. Debt isn't dangerous, oh, it's just an investment. And if you point out that this clearly isn't working, you're told to stop complaining and enjoy your rebate. This isn't compassion. It's decline with better branding. Mark Carney didn't inherit a mess created by somebody else. He represents the same governing ideology, the same economic worldview, and the same Liberal Party that brought us here. This rebate isn't a break from the past, it is the past. Trudeau economics with a new face and the same outcomes. Only conservatives are pledging to cut the taxes and wasteful spending, tackle the inflationary policy at the source, and actually address the root cause of Canada's cost of living crisis, instead of treating the symptoms with more spending. A functioning country does not need grocery rebates. A healthy economy does not require emergency checks so that people can eat. A competent government does not rely on subsidies to cover up the damage its own policies cause. If you're still cheering this on, still calling this good policy, and still convincing yourself that this is helping Canada, then at some point you have to ask yourself, are you just being loyal to the party blindly? Or are you being honest with yourself? Because this isn't moving us forward, it's dragging us lower, slowly, politely, check by check. And the fact that we're pretending otherwise should be embarrassing. Everyone who voted for the Liberal Party should be embarrassed. This is not anger. This is not outrage. This is me just pointing out that you should be ashamed. And it's well earned shame. If you liked this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Click the likes. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this rebate. I know a lot of you probably won't be receiving it because anybody with a partner makes over $63,000 a year. So kind of pointless to us, but just buy more votes, Carney. Go ahead. All right. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Make sure you watch some of my other videos because they're pretty good too. And I appreciate you sticking around for this long. I'll see you in the next one.